All right, let's just jump right in. We are talking about one of the most recognizable, most stunning objects in the entire night sky, the Sombrero Galaxy. It's beautiful, it's enormous, and as we're about to find out, it's hiding a powerful, invisible secret that could change the way we think about the entire universe.
Yeah, you've definitely seen this picture before, right? It's a total rock star of the cosmos. That incredibly bright center, that sharp, dark line of dust, it's just breathtaking. But what if I told you there's more going on here than meets the eye? A powerful secret that points to a hidden architecture shaping this entire galaxy.
So before we get to that big secret, let's get properly introduced. Let's get to know this absolute titan of the sky. This is Messier 104, but you probably know it by its much cooler nickname, the Sombrero Galaxy.
It's got a few official names, M104, NGC 4594, but come on, everyone calls it the Sombrero. And you can see exactly why. That incredible lane of dust looks just like the brim of a hat. Now, technically, it's what astronomers call an S-galaxy, which basically just means it has a huge central bulge and its spiral arms are wound up really tight. And if you wanted to find it, you'd point your telescope right at the border of the Virgo and Corvus constellations.
And just to give you a little perspective on how far away this thing is, it's about 30 million light years from us. Let that number sink in. That is just unbelievably far. The light that's hitting our telescopes tonight from this galaxy actually left before modern humans even walked the Earth. Wow.
And the galaxy itself? It is an absolute monster. At its heart, there's a supermassive black hole weighing in at 1 billion times the mass of our Sun. 1 billion! And it's surrounded by almost 2,000 globular clusters, these ancient, dense balls of stars. It is, without question, the heavyweight champion of its local galactic neighborhood.
Okay, so we've established it's huge, it's beautiful, it's a long way away. Got it. But astronomers found something else, something completely invisible that acts like a hidden skeleton for the entire galaxy.
Because for all of the incredible stuff we can see, the stars, the glowing gas, that amazing dust lane, the biggest, most important discovery about the Sombrero might be something we can't see at all.
And here it is. Back in 2005, a research team just dropped this bombshell. They were using radio telescopes, so they were looking at the sky in a way our eyes can't, and they found it, a massive, galaxy-wide magnetic field. This was a huge deal, a total first for this type of galaxy, and it just kicked open the door to a whole new set of questions.
So what does this invisible thing even look like? Well, imagine magnetic field lines running perfectly parallel to that famous dusty disk, almost like lanes on a cosmic highway. But it gets even cooler. It's not just flat. The field also extends up and down, reaching far above and below the galaxy itself, basically wrapping the whole thing in a giant invisible magnetic cocoon.
Now, finding something like this is one thing, but explaining what in the world could create it, that's a whole different challenge. I mean, what kind of engine could possibly power a magnetic field on the scale of an entire galaxy?
Now really, stop and think about that for a second. We're not talking about a little magnet you stick on your refrigerator. We're talking about a single, organized magnetic structure that stretches across tens of thousands of light years. What could possibly be the source of that kind of power?
As one scientist brilliantly put it, there are no giant bar magnets in space. So the simple explanations we're used to here on Earth, they don't apply. Now, a lot of models suggest that maybe the galaxy's own rotation slowly builds up a field over billions of years. But another perspective asks a different question. Is there a more direct, a more fundamental cause at play here? And this is where things get really interesting. And yeah, a little bit controversial. It leads us to a hypothesis that connects this giant magnetic field to another one of the fundamental forces of nature, electricity.
All right, let's do a super quick physics review. I promise it won't be painful. This part isn't up for debate. It's foundational science. Thanks to folks like James Clerk Maxwell, we know that magnetic fields don't just appear out of thin air. A magnetic field is what you get when you have a moving electric charge, in other words, an electric current. You simply cannot have one without the other. They are two sides of the very same coin.
You can actually think of our own sun as an analogy here. The basic idea is that if you have a primary, main current flowing through a big object in space, it can cause smaller, secondary currents to swirl around inside it. And it's those swirling currents that then generate the huge magnetic fields that we can measure. The whole thing acts like a giant cosmic electrical generator.
As the physicist Donald E. Scott put it so clearly, it's just cause and effect. If you find a magnetic field, you absolutely must have the electric current that's creating it. One simply cannot exist without the other. End of story.
So here's where it all leads. This is the core argument. That enormous, well-organized magnetic field in the Sombrero galaxy, it's not just some interesting feature. From this perspective, it is direct physical evidence of a colossal, galaxy-wide electric circuit. This reframes the entire galaxy not as just a bunch of stars floating around, but as a dynamic, active electrical system.
Now, it is absolutely crucial to understand that this idea puts us right on the cutting edge of a major scientific debate. This is not settled textbook science, not at all. This is where the real exploration and argument is happening right now. In astrophysics, you've pretty much got two camps on this. The conventional approach tends to focus on studying and modeling the magnetic fields themselves, mostly because, well, they're easier to measure. But the other perspective argues that this is an incomplete picture, that you can't possibly understand what the magnetic fields are doing if you completely ignore the electric currents that are their fundamental cause.
And believe me, there is real passion in this debate. Proponents of the electric current model, like whoever wrote this quote, they see this reluctance to bring electricity into the models of the cosmos as a major, self-imposed roadblock that's holding back progress. That's a powerful statement, and it really shows you how scientific ideas get challenged and defended.
So we end up with this massive question, which is really what this is all about. The Sombrero galaxy, with its famous shape and its hidden magnetic secret, it forces us to ask, what are we really looking at when we gaze out into the universe? Are we just seeing these lonely islands of stars and dust governed only by gravity? Or are we seeing active components in a vast, interconnected, and fully electrified universe? The answer is still out there, waiting to be discovered.